Today we're going to be talking about how a DC bartender's petty beef with a local influencer escalated to stalking, abuse of police power, and First Amendment violations. Hello there, my name is Kristen. Welcome to my channel. Here I like to talk about social and cultural issues through the lens of pop culture and public figures. Usually, but not always. I do change it up sometimes. Let's get started with the video.
This series is about my journey to finding love. I'm 39 years old, I am single, and I am living in a new city, and I am looking for my life partner.
I don't know how longer I can keep doing this. Like, dating can be fun, but it's just not a lot of the time. And if one more dude tells me that I'm pretty and funny and awesome and amazing and they just want to be my friend, I'm gonna scream. Like, what am I missing here?
Charlotte is a bartender in my neighborhood that shares photos and videos of me and my full legal name that she got from my credit card. She does this all while on the clock. She took a video of me riding my bike down the street at night and sent it to 50 dudes. I don't know these guys. Just fully putting my safety at risk. I wonder what your cop boyfriend thinks of this.
Hi guys, I'm going to jail.
So I'm being served with a protective order again from Charlotte.
I told them to wait outside because I was like, just take me to jail. This is insane.
The local influencer I mentioned is called Coco Briscoe. She recently moved to DC and is actively looking for her life partner. And she has been documenting her search for love on a series that she has called Dating DC. The series is a mix of vlog-style videos, commentary videos about dating culture, videos where she talks about her beliefs in regards to best practices for dating, as well as confessional-style videos where she talks about specific dates. In my opinion, the series had a lot of potential to set her up as a local micro-influencer. I don't know if that was her intention going into it. For some reason, I don't think it actually was, because I didn't see very many sponsored videos. I saw one or two from local businesses, but not very many. But in my opinion, a series where you go on a lot of dates and showcase local businesses, restaurants, bars, etc., is perfect marketing potential. And again, I don't know if she started the series with that in mind, but it's just something that comes to my mind when I'm watching it, where she's showing where she's eating out and making, compilation videos of the dates that kind of showcase local spots that you can go to. So honestly, it's a good business idea. It's a good way to position yourself as a micro influencer if that was something she was trying to do, which again, I don't know if she was. And the series stayed relatively small for a while, and she got mostly positive feedback on the app, aside from comments here and there from incel type dudes who took issue with the number of dates that she went on, accused her of being attention seeking or using these men that she was going out on dates with, but for the most part, it was positive feedback that she got. However, that all changed with one fateful video where she shared an opinion.
Needs to stop. Ryan, 41 years old, did not mention that he has children in his profile. While we were talking back and forth on Bubble, he mentions he has children. Multiple. I said, sorry, but kids are a deal breaker for me. Hope you find what you're looking for on here. He replies, ha 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 ha, you're 40 years old. How many options do you think you really got? I hope you like cats. Trust me, those looks are about to fade real quick. This is the kind of behavior on dating apps that needs to stop. Just because a woman does not want to have children and does not want to take care of your children does not give you a right to insult her. I am so sick of this toxicity. Just because I don't want kids does not give you a right to bully me.
A woman with an opinion is a very dangerous thing on the internet. So naturally, things started to escalate. This did evoke a pretty strong response from a lot of parents, and I can understand why, because your kids are an integral part of your life. You love your kids, you think your kids are, the bomb. And if someone rejects you because you have kids or is not interested in your children, that can feel like a personal rejection or attack of your children. But it's nothing personal about your kids. But again, I can understand why it can feel that way. I get why people had an emotional reaction. I don't necessarily think that it was justified because people left a lot of hateful comments that were really unnecessary. So because this video had a fairly controversial opinion, it blew up, and every follow-up video that she made about it blew up as well, at least relative to the numbers that she was doing previously. This exposed her to a larger audience, which is good for someone who's trying to be an influencer. However, it exposed her to an audience that was more critical. Essentially, she got a lot more hate viewers from these videos, which, in my opinion, is kind of what caused things to go in the direction that they did. And we're going to talk about that next. Despite the influx of hate comments that Coco received after her viral videos, she continued to make her series. And in the series, there were a few recurring characters. Among them were Lulu, the hopeless romantic who treated her really nicely that she unfortunately did not have a spark with, and the chef, the guy that she met organically, who happened to be the chef at the restaurant where she had a lot of her dates. She did feel that she had a spark with the chef, but unfortunately, things did not work out with him. You see, on their 4th scheduled date, the chef did not show up, and he did not reply to her when she asked him what was going on.
Okay, so I got stood up. I've changed my outfit because I'm going to take my bike for a little ride. He didn't even reply to my text when I said, hey, did you forget you invited me to lunch today? No response, so stood up and ghosted. So that's fun. I'll be at Rebellion on the Pike, and I'm going to be having lunch and having some drinks if anyone would like to join me.
At this bar, she met somebody that she would call Soccer Guy. Soccer Guy was a local bartender. She told him how she had been stood up by the chef she had been dating, and he felt bad for her and said, well, I'll take you on a date if you want. And so he did. She had a really good date with him and posted about it, really excited about having met somebody new and, kind of being like rescued from the crappy situation that she was in. Unfortunately, later that day, there was an upsetting twist of events.
Welcome back to Dating DC. I learned something tonight that really hurt my feelings. If you've been watching my content, you knew about the dates I had with Chef and about how I got stood up today and about how the soccer guy came in to save the day, yada, yada, yada. Well, apparently there's a group chat that men are in my neighborhood who think it's really funny to talk about dating DC and to have dates with me and humiliate me. The fact that people in my neighborhood are talking behind my back and trying to set me up just feels so hurtful. And everything that happened today was in a group chat with everyone in my neighborhood, and people are laughing at me.
She had received screenshots from a group chat with around 50 locals, mostly men, who had been gossiping about her, making fun of her for quite some time. And in this group chat, she read screenshots where she found out that the guy, soccer guy, who had rescued her after being stood up by the chef, had been in on everything and had been mocking her with all of these people. Obviously, this hurt her feelings. Nobody likes being gossiped about, and especially nobody likes when someone that you thought was your friend, who you thought liked you, had been making fun of you the entire time that you'd known them. That's upsetting. It didn't take long for things to escalate further. This group had already shown that it was willing to go real life, so it's not surprising that they were willing to do other messed up things. Also, side note, I think the going real life is actually the reason that somebody eventually notified Coco of what was going on. I think a lot of people are fine with gossip and making fun of people as long as it stays in the group chat, but once it escalates to manipulating people in real life and playing with people's emotions in real life, it starts to become a little bit less acceptable. So I'm assuming somebody in the group chat decided to let Coco know what was going on because it had crossed a line for them. Unfortunately, not everybody in the group chat felt like a line had been crossed, and some people were even emboldened by what had happened. Especially one woman named Charlotte, who was a bartender at a local bar. Charlotte began to share videos of Coco and tell members of the group where Coco was and where Coco was going. Whenever she ran into Coco, she was stalking Coco. I don't think I really need to explain why it was wrong and dangerous to send videos of her without her permission and tell people where she was at all times of the day and night, especially considering this was a group of people who did not like her. I don't think I should have to explain why that was wrong. Obviously, when Coco found out about this, she felt very unsafe, and she posted about that. She said at first that she didn't really want to go to the police. She shared that she had been assaulted in the past 2 times, and each time when she went to the police, they didn't really take her seriously, and they didn't follow up on the case. They just kind of brushed it off. Ultimately, because of how unsafe she was feeling, she did decide to file a police report just to have it on the record that this was going on in case things escalated further. The police were not willing to come out and take her statement in person, so she had to file the report online. It was after she posted about filing this police report that things escalated even further with Charlotte. And believe it or not, the cops decided to side with Charlotte. You see, Charlotte was dating a cop, and the bar that she worked at was a cop bar. So Charlotte went to the police and worked with them to get a protective order filed. A protective order is also called a restraining order, and that's what I'm going to call it for the rest of this video because that's the term familiar to most people. This was a special type of restraining order based on my research. I'm not a legal expert, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but this was a temporary restraining order that was not issued by a judge. And this type of restraining order is supposed to be used in emergency situations where somebody needs the restraining order immediately and the court date's not coming up right away. It's not really supposed to be used as a cudgel in your personal beef with a local influencer. The restraining order prevented Coco from talking about the situation for 3 days. And remember how I said that nobody would show up to Coco's house to take her statement when she filed her police report? Well, 4 armed police officers showed up to Coco's house at 4 a.m. to deliver this restraining order on behalf of Charlotte, the girl who had been stalking her and who didn't like her TikTok videos. Interesting. Coco obeyed the restraining order, but after the 3 days of the order were up, she did post about it. Then the next day, another protective order was delivered by, again, armed police officers, 4 of them showing up at her door at early hours of the morning. And at this time, she decided not to follow the protective order. She posted about it being delivered to her immediately, and because of that, she was taken to jail.
What do you guys think? Should I call the Arlington PD and be like, where you guys at? My uncle just texted me. He's like, you're a gangster. Coco Briscoe, dating DC, so dangerous. Just hangs out in her apartment and drinks wine. I mean, seriously, Arlington PD, come arrest me. Come on, let's get it over with. Let's do this. The fact that anyone would approve these restraining orders for my TikToks, you guys are so stupid. I honestly can't wait to be in handcuffs for making TikToks.
She spent the day in jail. She was denied a phone call and treated in other inhumane ways, which she shared about on TikTok.
I was recently jailed for making TikToks, and here's what that experience was like. 4 officers showed up at my home and arrested me with no shoes and no house keys. An officer offered to go back in and get my shoes and house keys, but I know in some states if you allow them to go back into your home, they will search it. So I went barefoot. I asked them to leave my house unlocked so that my next door neighbor could come and take care of my dog. They locked my door anyway. I did not resist arrest and I went calmly and willingly. However, these are the bruises on my wrist from the handcuffs being too tight. There's also a pinched nerve on my left hand and I have some numbness in my thumb from the handcuffs being too tight. They took my clothes and put me in a jumpsuit. During the approximate 5 hours I was in jail, they did not give me water, nor did they allow me to make a phone call. There was a phone in my jail cell and it did not work, and I continued to insist that they let me make a phone call. One of the officers said, "You don't get to make a phone call when you're in jail, you just watch too many movies." I continued to insist that they let me make a phone call, and one of the officers said, "Sure, I'll let you make a phone call," and he threw me in another jail cell that smelled like pee and vomit and was completely disgusting. The officer later told a reporter that I must just not have known how to use the phone. The only toilet paper that was there to use was crumpled up and filthy. At one point, the officers were gathered around each other watching videos on their phone and laughing, and I do believe that these were my TikToks that they were watching. It was the most dehumanizing experience of my life, and 0 out of 10 do not recommend.
While she was in jail, a magistrate told her that she could go to prison if she continued to violate the restraining orders that were being issued against her. After she was released from jail, a judge would dismiss the restraining orders because they were unconstitutional, obviously. Because of the First Amendment, we have the right to free speech, and so there are very rare cases where you can legally restrict free speech. One of the cases where you can do that is if somebody's making direct threats. Coco was not making threats, so these protective orders, restraining orders, were not constitutional. They did not have the right to tell Coco to stop posting online about what was going on. However, Coco is still facing misdemeanor charges for violating the unconstitutional protective orders. In other words, Coco was jailed and is facing charges for exercising her right to free speech. At this point, a local publication called Arlington Now posted an article about the situation involving Coco and Charlotte, and they were very clearly taking Charlotte's side. They even shared Coco's legal name and address, which is possible was given to them by Charlotte. I do not know if this is true. This is my speculation, so please keep that in mind. But Charlotte had to get Coco's information some way in order to file those restraining orders. She needed Coco's legal name and her address to do that. Having been her bartender and having swiped her credit card for her multiple times, she could have accessed this information. And she could have given it to the newspaper, who then doxed Coco. This is my speculation. So Coco had to relocate because she no longer feels safe in her own home after being doxed by the newspaper. The group chat still seems to be active. Coco is still facing charges. The woman who stalked her, the police who violated her First Amendment rights, and the newspaper that doxed her have faced no consequences. Tell me why the first time the cops decide to intervene in Coco's life is when she's having beef with a local business. They didn't care when she was attacked twice. They didn't care when she was being stalked. And only now, when a local business's reputation might be at risk, when one of their buddies might be being talked about on the internet, only then do they decide to intervene. And they intervene on the side of the business and the stalker. It's almost like the institution of policing doesn't exist to protect the people. It's almost like it exists to protect the interests of capital. Of course, we already know this. Coco's case is one of the most mild cases of police abuse of power that I can think of. We should all remember the protests that happened in the summer of 2020 after the police murder of George Floyd outraged the nation. This video started out as being a story about a TikToker's drama escalating, and it ended up becoming a poignant reminder of a truth that I think a lot of us know, which is that ACAB. This video is not going to be getting into why that is true. However, I recommend you look further into it. Personally, I watched and appreciated Thought Slime's video on the topic, and so I recommend you go watch that. But I did want to make this video because I know that while there have been many worse things that have been done by the police to marginalized groups, specifically Black people in America, the story of a woman like Coco is very likely to resonate with people because of how she looks and just who she is. So I thought it was worth using my time and platform to talk about because I think it's a reminder that they aren't here to protect us. I don't have a good way of ending this video. I encourage you to donate to a local bail fund if you are watching at this point and you have the funds to do so. And I hope you have a good day. Thank you for watching. Bye.